not going away now, and we're not going away for as long as it takes to restore our freedom.
I've been fighting my entire adult life for this day. It is one important victory.
This morning, protesters from coast to coast continue to speak out both for and against the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Thanks for joining us at 6 a.m., everyone. I'm Chris Groh, in for Eric Connor.
And I'm Neda Iranpour. So glad to have you here with us this morning. So now in the wake of the ruling, states are scrambling to clarify their own abortion laws. We have team coverage on this for you this morning. Dana Marie McNichol tracking what's happening at the state and local levels. But we're going to start with Naomi Ruckham. She's live in New York with the latest fallout from the Supreme Court's decision. Good morning, Naomi.
Chris and Netta, good morning. Today, women in at least 8 states can no longer get a legal abortion, and that number is expected to grow in the coming months. Advocates on both sides say their fight is not done. Anti-abortion rights groups are vowing to use the ruling to push for a near total ban in every state.
From Los Angeles to Cleveland. And Huntsville, Alabama. Americans took to the streets nationwide over the weekend following Friday's Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade after nearly half a century.
I feel like I don't have a choice to my own body.
Nobody wants to be stuck in a situation where they're stuck with a pregnancy.
In South Carolina, emotions boiled over, with protesters from both sides of the abortion debate fighting in the streets of Greenville. In Charlotte and around the U.S., abortion rights opponents celebrated the ruling.
For the last 50 years, there's really been a lot of lives lost under a false ruling by the Supreme Court.
At least 13 states have so-called trigger laws that locked new abortion restrictions into place after Roe v. Wade was overturned. Another 13 are likely to restrict access or enact bans soon.
Women are not second-class citizens, and the government is not the one that will decide about the continuation of a pregnancy. You know, there's no equivalent there for men.
What the Supreme Court said was that the Constitution does not give a woman the right to have an abortion.
In apparent defiance of Justice Department guidance issued after the Supreme Court ruling, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem vowed to bar mail-order abortion pills, while saying women should not be punished for seeking them.
In Florida today, abortion providers plan to ask a state judge for a temporary emergency injunction to stop a new abortion law from taking effect later this week. They argue the law violates right to privacy provisions in Florida's Constitution. Chris and Netta?
Live for us in New York. Thank you so much for that.
And today, local and state leaders are taking action in light of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade.
CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol has that part of our coverage. Joining us live now outside the county administration building to explain what locally will be happening. Good morning, Dana Marie.
Good morning, Chris and Netta. Well, starting Friday, hours after that decision came down, thousands came to downtown San Diego for a rally in outrage. Now some local leaders, including Mayor Todd Gloria, are coming together this morning in response to talk about how they're continuing to protect sexual health, reproductive rights, as well as the right to an abortion here locally as well throughout the state.
We know that abortion bans have always disproportionately harmed Black, Latinx, Indigenous, all people of color.
Now that was a quick look into that rally. Now this morning, Vice Chair of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Nora Vargas, will bring together regional elected leaders to demonstrate unity and solidarity with people who are in despair across the nation. We're told today is about making a vow to defend the right to reproductive health care. Now, access to abortion in California will continue to be protected under state law. Today in Sacramento, the state assembly is expected to vote on constitutional amendments that would ask voters to enshrine California's abortion protections within the state constitution. Amendment 10 would prohibit the state from denying or interfering with the person's reproductive freedom and their most intimate decisions, their fundamental right to choose to have an abortion, and their fundamental right to choose or refuse contraceptives. Now, according to the text of the amendment, that's what we're learning. Now, the proposal must pass with 2/3 approval before June 30th, the deadline to place a measure on the November ballot statewide. Again, out here, live local leaders around 8 a.m. will be here to discuss and defend reproductive rights here in San Diego, and we're going to hear from them coming up Mayor Todd Gloria will be speaking, Vice Chair Nora Vargas, as well as many others, to talk about how they're going to support the people here in San Diego. I'm Dana Marie McNichol, coming to you live for CBS 8.
Thank you so much, Dana Marie. And coming up, we will be joined by our panel of legal and political analysts to discuss what's next for abortion rights. That's coming up in our next half hour.
Well, this morning, money could be coming your way. We want to explain this one to you. Might get your ears perked up. State leaders have a new deal that would send Californians inflation relief payments of up to $1,050. Governor Gavin Newsom and some lawmakers announced a budget agreement last night, which includes money to help with rising prices, from groceries to gas. There is an income cap of $250,000, and how much you get depends on how much you make. So here it is, broken down for you. For example, people making $75,000 a year would get a $350 refund. Families with children would get up to $1,050. Direct deposits or debit cards will be sent to taxpayers, all expected by October. The budget deal also includes money to help pay rent and utility bills. The agreement will also suspend the diesel sales tax, but it does not suspend the California gas tax. In fact, that tax is set to increase about 3 cents for a total of 54 cents per gallon. That increase starts on Friday.
And this morning, a man is in jail accused of killing a 14-year-old boy with his car in Escondido and then driving off. Police arrested 70-year-old John Kiesel yesterday. Investigators say the teen was crossing against a no-walk sign on Bear Valley Parkway and Grand Avenue. Saturday night, this is when it happened. That's when the man hit him. Officers performed CPR at the scene. The boy died at the hospital. Kiesel faces a felony hit-and-run charge. And new this morning, the San Diego Union High School District is moving forward with plans to terminate Dr. Cheryl James Ward as superintendent without cause. This follows Ward being placed on leave for making a comment about Asian students and families during a district training. Now the school board will begin its search for a permanent superintendent in time for the start of the 2023 school year. Ward's termination goes into effect on August 15th.
This morning, the years-long legal saga over San Diego's 101 Ash Street deal could finally be coming to an end. In fact, City Council set to vote on a proposed settlement to put an end to the litigation around this failed purchase of 101 Ash and the Civic Center Plaza. You see the big building right there. Mayor Todd Gloria says it'll be cheaper for taxpayers to buy the buildings for $132 million. But City Attorney Mara Elliott, she does not want to settle. She contends that the original deal made with the city was illegal and wants the city to keep fighting in court to have the deal voided altogether. All right, let's check in on our forecast. So how hot are we talking, Evan?
I mean, upper 90s for inland valleys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be hot out there. The inland is where the heat is really going to be felt. Along the coast is where 70s are expected yet again. So quite a departure from normal the farther east you go, but really only through the valleys, because once you get to the mountains and deserts, we're only about 3 to 5 degrees warmer than average. The real heat is going to be inland. So from Valley Center through Ramona, Lakeside, Hamul, that's where you're going to really feel that punch, not only in terms of the warmth, but also because of the humidity. It was a dry weekend. Now we start to see humidity levels rise. You might have seen even some thunderstorms develop last night. That southeast corner of San Diego saw a couple strong billowing clouds that viewers sent in. So if you captured those photos, you were not alone. Many people countywide saw one strong thunderstorm cloud that developed last night, and that did bring some cloud to ground and cloud to cloud lightning strikes. Here's the marine layer to start off the day. It is stretching from about Carlsbad through San Diego, pushing inland right now. Mainly west of the 5, but causing some low clouds and fog to develop. Forecast for the day is going to take us to the 70s for the coastline. AM clouds, PM sun, a lot more sun by the afternoon. Upper 90s there for your inland valleys, and then for the mountains and deserts, still very, very warm out there, but closer to about average. Looks like the departure from normal again is going to be most felt in Ramona, where we're going to be 11 degrees warmer than average. San Diego and Borrego Springs only about 3 degrees warmer than average. Let's talk about traffic. It's 6:10 on the clock right now. Taking you to a crash that has now been cleared. We checked in on this earlier today. Looks like there was that crash on the 5 southbound at Harbor Drive in Oceanside. That has now been cleared. You're smooth sailing on the 5 southbound. Want to take you down to the Coronado Bridge, where we are now seeing even more congestion than we ran into about a half hour ago. So we're starting to see that mid-span speeds drop down to the single digits. Once you get across the bridge, you'll continue to see that as you get onto North Island. So important to keep in mind that now it's 6:10. A lot of congestion there on the Coronado Bridge getting into the Coronado area. Should start to see that lessen up in the next about half hour or so.